All right, the Republican Congressman Tim Burchett, a regular on this show, taking to social media earlier today, doing what he does, posting a selfie video on Capitol Hill, railing against many of those in his own party when it comes to pushing forth the GOP agenda.
I'm sure I'll catch hell for saying this, but we didn't. Our approval rating is right above those people that are scraping Teslas right now, and you know we're running around the country hollering about all this stuff, and Trump won overwhelmingly because of the DOGE agenda, cutting this stuff out, and we're not cutting nothing out.
So as Musk takes his chainsaw to federal agencies, the congressman lamenting that his party is taking up some measures, but still isn't seriously taking on spending. Full panel here with me now. Brad Howard is a Democratic strategist. Hogan Gidley back with us, former principal deputy press secretary in the first Trump White House. Denise Gitsham, NewsNation contributor, former aide in the George W. Bush administration. And Chris Hahn, watching a little bit of baseball, hanging out remotely. Yanks or Mets? Chris, which one?
Yanks, baby.
Yanks. All right, there we go. All right, so let me start with Hogan. What's going on right now? Because you've got, obviously, he has his issues with spending, but it is kind of like a holding pattern right now for your party up on the Hill, trying to figure out where y'all go next.
First of all, Chris and I may only agree on Yanks. So
okay, there you go. All
right. Look, Burchett, one of my favorite members, the lovable curmudgeon that he is, you know, really sharing a lot of what the Republican Party is concerned about, and that's spending. We just passed a CR over there that actually reduced spending a little bit.
That's the short-term bill.
So he should be a little happy about that, yes. But look, the DOGE effort, which is exposing all this misuse and misspending of taxpayer dollars, is going to be quantified, qualified, and then codified into law at some point. And once they begin to build that list out, Congress is going to act on it.
So the last thing that Hogan said, I think, is the crucial one, which is codified into law, which would then say, okay, whatever we found here,
sure,
you're gone.
Right. I mean, that's a huge imperative if we want to actually make change that lasts for the long term, right? It goes past this next round of executive, order pullbacks. So for whoever comes in next. You know what I think is interesting is that when you come from a district that's, one of the safest Republican districts in America, you have the luxury of saying things like this.
You can rail all you want.
Why aren't we doing more?
Okay.
And in fact, like nobody else in that position, the Republican Party has to do the hard work of bringing independents along with us on this long road to getting what we want codified. And if we lose sight of that, we're going to lose a lot more than just the House in the next round of elections.
So what are you all doing? Just sort of sitting back here right now?
First of all, I would tell the congressman to enjoy his poll numbers because they could be worse because ours are much worse at the moment.
So we're enjoying it.
Yeah, I know you are. I can tell. Look, I think there is a growing frustration among both parties of the kind of Congress isn't doing enough, right? Democrats are arguing they're not doing enough to protect and defend, and I think a lot of Republicans are arguing that they're not doing enough to codify what's going on. And I think everyone needs to remember, this is a 4-seat majority, right? Like, Congress is hard enough as it is to get anything done. Then you add into the slim margins, and then 2 chambers, and now you've got 2 versions of the Democratic Party very much at odds with how to handle this moment. It's going to be a very slow crawl for the next 2 years.
Han, you're itching to get in.
Yeah, here's what I think happened. I think the congressman just came from a meeting where they told them that they were in trouble in their special elections in Florida. Maybe they win them, maybe they don't, but their seats they should have cruised to. And they had to pull Elise Stefanik from the UN because they were going to lose the seat in upstate New York and possibly the chamber itself. And he's saying, why don't we get things done now while we have a majority? And I feel for the guy, but let me tell you something. When those special elections happen and they're closer than they should be, or God forbid, Democrats win one, this Congress is going to be a very different place to work. And maybe there'll be a little bit more accountability for the president, who has put some very incompetent people in charge of our government.
Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.